everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the In Off the Bench Podcast Network's Grit and Grind Show. I'm your host, Daniel Ball. Today, we got a good one. We've got two elite superstars from the United Grid League's Houston Bandits. We got Matt Rattay. We got John Young. But before those guys join us and tell us their story and get us hyped for this weekend at Valor Fitness, where the Bandits will be taking on the Brigade, I got to plug the sponsors. I got to keep the lights on, keep the AC moving because it's hot here in Tampa. So let me get to it. First and foremost, the mental game performance coaching. If nerves, pressure, or overthinking are stealing your game day success, go to the mental game, tmgperformancecoaching.com. Sign up for a free game planning session. They'll get your mind right. They'll help you beat the nerves. They'll help you own the moment. So make sure you check them out. Chinook seeds, the best sunflower seeds in the game. 8 flavors, mild to wild. Go to your local gas station, grocery store, convenience store. Pick up the best seeds. The big blue bag, it is College Baseball World Series Omaha. The 8 teams have been fighting their way to make it. They're there, and there's no better way to enjoy the action of Omaha than with a nice bag of Chinook seeds. Old Dominick Distillery, experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin, Old Dominick's got you covered. Stop in today for a tour or to pick up your favorite bottle. You can also go online, olddominickdistillery.com, and pick up your favorite spirit for your favorite event. I'm telling you, pick up anything. They make it all. It's great. And I'm telling you, you can be the life of the party, or you can just have your own party solo. Nightcaps, they'll do it all. So check them out. But with that, we've done the business. We can pay the bills again. And with that, I want to bring to the show our friends from the Houston Bandits, Matt Rattay, John Young. Matt, how we doing? John, how we doing?
I'm good, man. How about you?
I am blessed. I tell everybody when my 2 feet hit the floor every morning, it's a good day. Matt, I got to start with you, brother. I apologize. Yep. And I was talking to John about this offline. We are all dads. I have 2, I think. Matt, you might have 2, I believe. I think one just celebrated a birthday, if I'm not mistaken.
John, you have a birthday is today, first year.
Nice. Look at that. Big day, man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, for real. Right? And John, you have a young kid as well. Obviously, when you get into dad mode, the days and the dates, like, they just don't make sense. So I have to apologize to you, Matt, because yesterday was one of those days, brother. I just forgot what day it was. I literally went through our text thread and was like, yep, you were right. I'm not. So glad to have you guys on. But with that, we gotta get to your story. We're gonna talk grid. We're gonna get to week 1 and the opening, match for the Bandits. We're gonna talk about the Brigade this weekend. But Matt, I want to start with you. Obviously, you're 2016 CrossFit Games team athlete. You're a 6-time CrossFit regional athlete. You're a 3-time Wadapalooza liftoff champ. That's a lot of things to add to your fitness resume. But where does your fitness journey begin? Does it begin as a kid? Does it begin as an adolescent, or later in life as an adult?
Yeah, I would say for me, it didn't start until I did start wrestling in middle school. Actually, football in middle school. 8th grade was the first time I ever really played sports. Before that, I was a short, fat kid with glasses that got picked on aggressively because that's just primo picking on for the kids. But it wasn't until the 8th grade I played football, started making friends in football, and then my friends in football were like, hey, man, you should try out for the wrestling team. Little did they know, I actually did try out for the wrestling team in the 6th and 7th grade, and I quit because it was too hard. A week in the 6th grade, and then 2 weeks in the 7th grade, and then the 8th grade, because I had friends, was purely the only reason why I stuck it out, because they did wrestling as well. And that is what actually started everything. As an 8th grader, wrestling a 165-pound weight class, being 5 foot, nothing, and 165 pounds, I was a butterball. My dad just called me a weeble. I'd weeble and wobble all over, but never fall down. And then moving on from there, went to Lawrence North High School, wrestled for them, went my freshman year, weighed 185 pounds during football season, was an outside linebacker, and then continued on to wrestling and was asked, hey, do you want to wrestle varsity at 135 pounds? And I was like, yes. They're like, can you make 135? They thought I was a 152 pounder because I was short, but I was the 171 pounder for the JV. And I was like, I'll make the weight cut. I'll make it happen. And so ever since that, wrestling was like my first true like love in sport and fitness. And like, I started working out hard to try to get better for that. Was very blessed and lucky that my junior year, we got a new strength coach come in. Her name was Coach Hap. She actually coached Brock Lesnar at Minnesota whenever he was wrestling for them. So when she came in and said that, I was like, anything you tell me to do, I will do whatever you say. And so that's made that she turned me into a good weightlifter in the sense of like doing clean and jerks. And we didn't snatch in high school or anything like that, but that's why I was a clean and jerk specialist going on to weightlifting. And then you just go down the years, went to college, partied, drank, did way too much of that. Then I got back home, went to IPY and was like, went to Indiana University and then went to IPY and was like, man, I really need to hunker down. Like having a 1.3 GPA is not a smart thing to do your freshman year. So, and then was bodybuilding and was literally about a week out from my first show ever. Had a date to do the whole spray tan from the ankles up. And the week before, my buddy was like, hey, man, we should do this CrossFit stuff and give it a go. And then when I went to my first class, I was like, this is what I've been missing since my wrestling days, like that push, that grind, but then the battery that you have of the community around you. You're an individual who's working your best, but you are collectively as a team trying to achieve a goal. And that's kind of what CrossFit became for me. That's how I spiraled into CrossFit.
Nice. You know, I do want to go back to what you said. You weighed 170 pounds and you had to cut like 30 pounds in high school. Like, how does that, is it as simply as just getting in the weight room and doing the right things, or like,
probably getting out of the weight room?
what is it that you do? Because you could bottle this up and sell it, because there are people out there that want to know, how do you fucking lose 30 pounds? Just
you didn't
like
do
that?
good things. Don't.
No, and that's the thing. Yeah, I won't front on it. It's one of those things of like, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do it a completely different way than I did. But also, you're a 14, 15-year-old kid that all you know is that if you eat less and you drink less water and you work out hard, your body will just lose weight. Like, and that technically is the way, right? Caloric deficit and train your face off. But the thing is like, even in the latter years of my wrestling, like I would still weigh probably 160 on Monday and be 135 by Friday. And I would do that every week. Like I said, was not the healthiest way of doing it, but it was like, you sweat it out. Like, and I'm blessed and lucky from my father to have overactive sweat glands. I'll lose 8 to 12 pounds in a single wrestling practice. No problem. But it's also why my buddies on the wrestling team called me Crisco, because they hated wrestling me because I was a buttered, sweaty mess anytime they wrestled with me.
Well, Tyler wanted to talk about buttered sausage. I mean, maybe that's as close to buttered sausage as we get. I mean, very buttery and just like I've heard stories and, you know, crazy stories from wrestlers over the years and how they cut weight and like turning heaters on in practice and like crazy shit. But you lived it. You're here to tell the story. So, you know, you learn from those things. But John, obviously you're a CrossFit analyst. You're an Olympic weightlifting coach. You know, with you, how does your journey start? Is it similar to Matt's, where you're in sport as a kid and you just like fall in love with the weight room, or do you just get strong? You're like, man, I'm going to figure this out as I go through life.
So I would say for Olympic lifting, yes. But in general, no, I always did 3 sports. I was football, basketball, and baseball until high school, and baseball turned into lacrosse. My wrestling coach begged me to be on the wrestling team because I was like a sophomore and could bench 300, and I weighed 175, 180. And they're like, but I like basketball, and basketball was more fun to me, so I played basketball. So,
wrestlers and basketball players do not like each other.
I was fine with everybody. I just liked playing basketball more.
We're just glad you guys are tall.
Could you hoop though? Could you hoop? That's the thing.
I mean, we were all right. We did decent. We had the most winning record for our school, like in history, and I think we got smacked by the eventual Illinois state champions. But it's 5A Illinois basketball. They're very good. So I moved mid like high school from Florida to Springfield, Illinois, from South Florida to Springfield, Illinois. Wow. And it was so funny because in Florida in basketball, I was very good. And then in football, I was good, but I was just one of the good guys on the team. Right. And again, you're sophomore, right? I was one of the sophomores that made varsity, and that was a big deal in South Florida. But wasn't nothing like special. And then we went to Illinois, and it was completely flipped. Like Illinois football was way worse than Florida football, and then Illinois basketball so much better. It was ridiculous. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna play defense and shoot threes. That's all I'm gonna do, and that's all that turned into. But I did weightlifting a lot when I was like 12, 13. I want to say, I forget, but like the Missouri State powerlifting record for deadlift and bench press, or squat and bench press. One of those. It was back when Sunlight Power was running things in like the powerlifting world. And my dad had a lot of powerlifting records. And so when I was 13, we did a lot of that stuff. And then I was always just really good in the weight room. But I never like really did anything with it. I was just really good at it. And then when I went to college, all I did was bench press and play basketball. That was pretty much it. And then my parents like tried to get me into CrossFit. They're like, "Hey, you would be really good at this thing. Everybody is your size. You're the perfect size for it." And then my first CrossFit class, they had a max power clean and then a workout, and I got smacked in this workout by a bunch of old ladies, and it made me realize, I am really unfit. But in the power clean, I muscle cleaned, no contact, 265, weighing like 185. And I know that's not like a big number, but for never doing the lift ever, like they acted like it was a big deal. The gym wasn't very competitive, and I was like, okay, I think I can get pretty good at this. And then I was like, well, who's the best at it? And that's the Chinese people. And the Chinese were always the best at weightlifting, still the best at weightlifting, although, there's some countries catching up. But I would still say China's the best at weightlifting. And then I nerded out so hard on Chinese weightlifting. Basically, what did these and I'm not trying to hate on Matt's ethnicity, but the Chinese.
I was like, just so people know, I am Korean.
Yeah,
it's okay.
On his own podcast.
They pick these kids out when they're like 7 years old, and now they're like, you're going to be an Olympic lifter. And I was like, okay, what do they do with these kids when they first get them? Like, how do they teach them how to do this, right? And it was a lot of like just holds and compromising positions where it's just ingrained in you, like these certain positions, like how to hold a barbell, like for instance, the bottom of a snatch. And like, if you could just sit there for 3 minutes with an empty barbell at the bottom of a snatch, you're never going to have a problem in the bottom of that position. And so I just tried to emulate what they did with like a broomstick. And then when I thought I looked like Lu Xiaojun with the broomstick, which obviously I didn't, but when I thought I looked similar to that, I tried it with the barbell. And then it was like, I want to say in 3 months, I snatched 225. And this is me just figuring it out. And then give me 3 more months, that was 275. And then after that, it took a little longer to get stronger. But
a little bit.
Very, very quickly, I got very strong for CrossFit. Not the strongest in CrossFit, but like within 2 years, I was very strong for CrossFit. And then I just rinsed. Then I made myself like my own lifting program that took a lot of the Chinese. What I did back when I was nerding out in CrossFit was I read Tia Toomey's for her first book. I'm not reading her second one, but her first one, this is when I was drank all the juice, and she put her Olympic lifting, what she did to make the Olympics, her program. And I tried to do that program, way too much volume. I couldn't do it. All it was lifting. And this is back when I was still figuring out how to do toes to bar, chest to bar, like all the CrossFit movements, right? And I was like, well, I still want to be able to do CrossFit. I still want to be able to do the class because I'm still, figuring out how to do everything. But I want to get strong. And then so I basically cut that down to what I thought was the best bang for my buck lifts wise. And then and switch things around the way the Chinese like to do it, especially any like additional accessory stuff to get better. And then I made my own little program. And then every single time I ever did this program, I PR'd everything by 20 pounds. Like every single time I did it, And like my deadlift would go up without doing one deadlift. My clean and jerk would go up without doing one jerk. And I was like, why would I train these things if I can just get stronger this way? And obviously, when you reach kind of your potential, those things need to be worked on. But 99% of the population never even get to that. And so I did that. And then, I mean, 2 years go by of just me doing like one cycle a year of this little program I made. And then I could snatch 300 and clean 365. One more year, I cleaned 385. And then I didn't really, after that, I tried to get fit. Then I was like, okay, I'm one of the strongest in CrossFit. Now I just need to get fit, right? And then I lose weight, get fit, all the stuff. And then I gave myself like 2 or 3 years of trying to be the fittest that I could be. And it was like, I would say like my peak fitness, which I don't know if this is the fittest my body could ever be, would be like very low tier semifinals level, like heat 1. And that's if I got extremely lucky in the quarterfinals to make it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let me ask you this. With you having such success lifting weights, being a weightlifter, when you transitioned and you said, I want to become as fit as I can, did the weightlifting numbers go down? And like, was that okay with you? Because I know some people toy and like struggle with the balance of, well, if I'm going to become fit, then I really can't lift weights all the time. And like, sometimes my numbers are going to go down in order for me to get better at other aspects of CrossFit. But for you, like, what was the case?
So I find, I don't know how Matt feels about this, because he was far more like technique than strength power. But I found I didn't touch a barbell for 6 months. Like unless it was in a workout, I didn't touch a barbell at all. And I never cleaned anything over 315. And when I maxed after that, like 6 months, I cleaned 375. And at the time, 385 was my max. And then I cleaned 375, like, we'll take it. Like I'm still snatching 290. And then like, it was completely, I find that CrossFit is the greatest maintenance program of all time. You could get to a certain strength and then just do CrossFit, and all of your numbers will stay the same. Because you think about it, how many squats are you doing? How many rows are you doing? How many presses are you doing? That stuff doesn't leave you, because you're doing so many reps in any given workout, where it doesn't really leave you.
Right.
And then for grid, I was like, okay, now I have an excuse to get strong again. And then I was like, well, I want to clean 405. I've never done that. So let's see what that looks like. And then I did it. And then my next goal is to snatch 330. And that'll be real fun if I can get to that.
Is there a timeline for that? Or that's just like, I'm going to get to it. When I get to it, I get to it.
So I literally was like, I didn't know if I could. I never have. And I didn't know if like I've reached kind of the peak of what my body does for strength. I'm also 30, wear and tear a little bit. Right. But, I just did I did the same strength program I've always done. And this is typically what I prescribe to any of my clients, because it literally works I've never had it not work. And, I was at like 395, but I failed 405. So then I just ran a 4-week mini cycle and then hit it after the 4-week mini cycle. And then it was done. So 12 weeks, boom.
For y'all out there, for a low fee of $6.99, John Young can give you the mini program.
Yeah. I just DM JY Barbell and I'll get you strong. It's going to be great.
Oh,
I think the thing is like, you just have to be consistent, right? It's the consistency thing. That's the biggest thing. People do it for 4 weeks and then they stop after 4 weeks. Now, granted, John's doing 4-week cycles, but he's doing that for going on 8 years straight,
Mm-hmm.
I think people lose sight of like intentionality. Like, you can call yourself training for something very specific, but if there's no intentionality behind it and you're just there kind of doing it, like you should expect what you're putting in. But if you're very intentional about the work that you're doing, like you should see some type of results. If it's not stronger, you may be more fitter. Like there are some correlations to having some intentionality in what you do. But Matt, I want to ask you, man, obviously you have a lot of accolades in the fitness realm, and before we get to grid, like you're a dad, like you're balancing it all. Do you find now that you're a dad and Like, does the training time, is it different? Is it less? Or is it you just have to be more focused and more like intentional about the timing in which you do it?
Yeah. So when we had the one, that was a lot easier because there's 2-on-1, right? Like,
Right.
hey, I'm going to go train for 2-3 hours. Like, you're going to watch the kiddo. And then when I get back, it's my turn. Now we have 2 of them. And as I said, the first one, you're figuring stuff out because it's literally you've never had a kid ever in your entire life. So you're literally like, what is this? Like, what do I do? How does this function? What goes on? Then we figured something out, and then we decided, hey, let's have another one. Why not? Like 16, 18 months later.
Let's make life even tougher.
Yeah. But no, it is 100%. It's one of those things like that's now that I realize like having a kid or kids, realizing why a lot of athletes especially, they have kids and then they kind of stop. Like they move on and they say like, hey, I'm done with fitnessing or I'm done with competing at a high level, because unless you just don't care about your kids, and I care about my kids and I want to spend time with them. And like, so me being at the gym for 3-4 hours, like it used to be, well, I'm giving up 3 of those hours to my kids. I get maybe an hour. And to be honest, it's crazy. Like, which is why grid worked out really, really well, because I can do all the things I need to do in an hour because everything is fast, high intensity. You just go as hard as you can for 30 to 45 seconds. It worked out perfectly for me. But yeah, it is definitely one of those things that like each week I probably get 5 hours of training. Whereas when I was in my early 20s doing CrossFit and like going to the games or regionals and things like that, dude, I'd get 5 hours on a Monday and do that 6 days in a week, right? So getting 30, 40 hours of sessions in a single week. So it's definitely an adjustment thing. Thankfully, like I tell my wife, like I'm just still riding the wave that I had from my early 20s. And like I am on a descent, but because I'm still somewhat training, it's like a very slow descent down, right? Like
we're gonna hold that till we're 60, man.
Hey,
dude, that's the hope, right?
You got to. John, what about you?
Like,
You're a new dad. Like, have you found that training like you've had to kind of revamp how you go about and your timing in which you have to train?
Yeah, it's definitely adjusted a little bit. I wouldn't. My training time hasn't cut as much as Matt's, but I think he might have took like his actual CrossFit journey a little more serious than I did whenever I was doing it. Because again, I was so poor in aerobic capacity. I just ran every day. Like it was far different than like trying to get good at certain skills. I was like, my skills are there. Like I can do anything if I see it. I just need to see it and then I'll be able to do it. I just can't breathe. And so it was just a million burpees. You know, I can do 100 burpees for time while I'm watching Abby Grace, right? So, but no, my training definitely has cut down, but you just got to figure out how to do some stuff at home, and then so it might look a little different. It's far less lifting, that's for sure, but like I only lift when I go to the gym, but here I still, I can get a burpee box jump over workout in anytime I want to.
Yeah, you figure it out. Like for me, I have 2. And so much like you, like I've had to like think about, all right, well, how much time do I actually have? And what's the best usage of my workout time? Because I think you guys are probably in the same boat. Like for your sanity, like you need to be in the gym. You need to be training. Like that's a part of like being able to be the best version of you. And I've just gotten to the point where first thing in the morning, 5:30, it sucks to wake up at 5:30 and get going, but like I know that I don't have any issues. Nobody's bothering me. I don't feel like I'm not being present for my kids. Like, so that is what it is for me. And so like, yeah, it's definitely changed. That's why I asked. I'm always curious as how everybody balances it. But let's get into grid. Obviously the Bandits are first year.
We're the babies.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, but the reality is you're one match in and you're not the baby anymore. You're part of the league. You're a team. You're competing. You're good to go. But Matt, for you, how do you get hooked up with grid and how do you eventually land a spot on the Bandits?
Yeah, so my story is actually similar to John's, and it's funny because when it happened to me, I reached out to John, and that actually caused more people to come into my. So it was just one day, Instagram pops up, and there's a message from some guy named Fico, and I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know who this is. And he's like, hey man, I used to watch you at Wadapalooza and regional days, and like, I'm one of the coaches for a grid team. I think you'd do really well at it. Like, what do you think? And I was like, and I talked to my wife about it. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, I remember watching grid stuff, like when I was being serious about my CrossFit and like trying to go in to it. When I was doing Wadapaloozas, like Taylor Stalling, she competed at a Wadapalooza liftoff. And she had asked me a couple weeks after that, hey, why don't you come and do team on grid stuff? And this was way back in like 16, 17 time. And I was like, I'm focusing on my fitness and like trying to go to the games as an individual and whatnot. But Pico rolled in and I was like, yeah, like I'd love to chat with the people and see what it's about and what is grid. And then like a day later, I think Jessica Cruzman for Tampa Bay Brigade popped in as well. Because after FICO, I called Taylor and I was like, hey, Taylor, what do you think like about the teams and whatnot? And then I talked to her whenever it was just Jess and FICO. And then I talked to John, texted him and said, hey man, like I heard on the barbell spin that you were going to be on a grid team also this season. Like, what do you think about all this stuff? Just trying to get opinions from my friends. And sure enough, when I texted John, he said, BS, dude, don't worry about anybody else. You're going to come join the Bandits. Like don't even talk to anybody else. Like it's a done deal. I'll tell Sophia that she has to get you on the team.
I feel like this conversation went very different. I feel like that conversation went very different.
No. I've got the text thread. That's exactly how it went down.
I feel like I was like, you're your own man. I'd listen to everybody and you make your decision, but you're not going to have more fun unless we were on a team together. That's all. That's like, because I know FICO can offer, FICO can offer stuff that we can't, but I will do my best. That's what, I think that's how that went.
Yeah. Well, so what I did was that like, because like I didn't really know a whole lot of the people on any other teams. So I chatted with, I told FICO, Jess, Sophia, I was like, hey, can I talk to the members of the team that you guys have right now? And I chatted with them and whatnot, just to figure out some stuff. Cause also like financially, like having 2 kids living in California, like there's no money. Yeah. There's no money to be had. But that said, the biggest thing that made me decide it was honestly, everybody seemed like everybody's super cool and super nice to each other. But purely because I already knew John and we've interacted with each other. And to be honest, I like the idea of like, hey, brand new team. Everybody's going to have something to try to prove. I feel like that's going to be a kind of team that I want to be a part of. And so that's why I eventually just decided, I was going to go with the Bandits. John was a big reason, but also, like I said, being the new team and the new kids on the block just sounded like fun. And then that way also it was kind of like expectations are none. Like we're just going to go in and have some fun and do the best we possibly can. And it makes it less pressure,
Yeah. John had a bonus incentive to get you in his contract. So he was working really hard for that. But John, what about you, man? Like, was it as simple as Sophia saying, hey, come be a part of the team? Or were you approached by other owners going, hey, we would like to have you a part of one of our teams?
So I was not even looking at grid at all. I was just doing my thing. And then they posted that Houston has a team or a new team. And I honestly didn't know how it worked. I mean, but I was like, okay, so I don't got to go anywhere. I can just be here. And I was like, sure. Like, I'm great at this stuff. Like anything under 2 minutes, I'm awesome. Right. Just ask my wife. I'm just kidding. But and so I DM'd her and then first spin like pulled up, hey, are you gonna like he pulled it up on the show and was like, hey, you should look at this. And I was like, I will look at that. And then the FICO, I'm pretty sure was in the comments. I don't know if he DM'd me or was in the comments, but like, hey, if you were interested, like, we should talk. It was something like that. I don't remember it completely, but and then I DM'd the Houston Bandit page, so Sophia, and I was like, hey, I'm really good at this stuff. I've never done it, but I'm pretty sure anything you got, I can do it faster than most. And then she came to my gym and literally didn't do any lifting at all. I just did all the gymnastics and she was like, yeah, you can be on the team. And I'm like, cool. That was easy.
You didn't even see the best part.
No. I think she just you looked at my Instagram and like you could see from there that like I'm strong and stuff. But and then I want to say the Venom called. So then the whole Big Mama thing happened. And then we didn't know if I was going to be able to be on a team. And the Venom called and they asked me, they were like, hey, if things fall through, we'll still take you. And I was like, okay, well, I can't like fly there. So just letting you know, but like, cool, like sounds good. So I feel like I was probably going to do it no matter what, but Sophia was riding for me hard. That like all of the team were for me and not against me, because it was kind of like I feel like there was a split down the middle in the league. And then I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll see if I can get other people that I think would be good at it. And then that developed into what we got now.
Yeah. It's
him trying so hard to get me.
What?
I said, hence you.
Yeah,
so
dude. I was like, listen, anything I can't do, he can do. Right. And I might be faster at like some lifting things, but like he's gonna be just as fast as almost anything else.
I'm not as strong, but I am shorter.
If anything, grid's such a team thing, like, right. And I'm like, he's the only guy that I think could be as fast as me. And of course, there are very fast guys in grid. I don't want to take away from anybody else, but like of that, I knew he was the only guy that I would like. Respect might be a wrong word, but like we know what each other's got, and not very many people got that. Like, and there's a little bit of a bond there. Would you agree, Matt? Like,
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Like if you don't snatch 300, you wouldn't understand. It's like one of those things.
Sorry, Aaron.
I was going to leave it quiet.
But obviously, it's fitness is always more fun with friends, and it's obviously better when you have a personal connection or someone, and it just makes it more comforting and more of a family. And there's egos out there, a lot of big egos. So when you can know who's on your team and eliminate that from the equation based on who you know and get those right people, like that makes a difference, especially for a team like the Bandits who's starting out and you're trying to create a team and create a foundation for continued success in the league. But Matt, obviously you had a highlight moment this past this first week. I gotta know, all right, you go across the handstand ramps, you do all three. Was that the plan going in, or it was just like on the fly you're like, well, here we go, let's go?
Yeah, so we got there we were checking out the venue Friday, and they were deciding like the setup of the ramps and everything. And sure enough, while we're there, we see them putting the ramps one in front of the other. Whereas whenever originally they were told us the game plan was that they were going to be side by side. And so the plan was like, I'll go do two of them, because in the time it took me to do the ramp, come down, run back around, do another ramp, at least one of the other guys would be able to get up and over, Right. But when we got there and we noticed, oh, hey, these are all in a straight line. Sophia looks at me and she goes, can you do all three? And I did. I was like, girl, you could put 6 of those things out there. I'll do all 6. Like those don't stop me at all. So it was on the fly the day before. We were like, hey, like they're just going to do it. I did practice while we were there at the venue because they had them all set up. So, and like the media team was there, like Mather and some of the guys were all there as well. And I did it. And it's funny, I think I did it there, no warm up, faster than I actually did it on the grid. Because on the grid, you have a little bit of nerves. You're like, if I go too fast and I eat stuff on the box, like I don't want to do all that. So
I know. I was honestly disappointed, but go ahead.
Dude, the third box, every time I watch the video, I'm like, why did I slow down so aggressively on that third and final box? But it was just one of those things of like, let's make sure we get it done rather than leave anything up to chance.
If you pan to John in that moment, he's got just a disappointed look on his face. While he's just
like, let's go, man. Good grief.
The thing is, John is probably one of the few people that truly knows like what I am capable of. So when he says that, I actually do take it to heart. I'm like, he's not wrong, Matt. Like you can be faster. You can be faster.
Hey, he just want, now that you know, like it's possible, and in the moment, like you got it, like you could definitely do it faster, I'm sure. Like
it was so funny talking to Sophia, because she was like, "Well, what does he do?" I was like, "Hey, you need to get. I'm gonna tell this guy that he could be on the team, and like you just need to say yes." And then and she was like, "Well, what is he good at?" And I'm like, "Listen, he's a good lifter. He's gonna be able to do all the stuff. If anything's too heavy, and I doubt it would be, I will do that. Like, but like you don't understand his handstand walk, and they have like, Grid's got some handstand thing in it almost every match.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's faster than anybody you've ever seen. And she goes, well, Cardona can do 80 feet, or Chaffee can do 80 feet in whatever second. I was like, I don't care. Whatever you think is fast, this is faster. Like you don't understand. And then she finally saw him, and I was like, go ahead, Matt, go do it. And like literally like he's my kid, go show off, go get it. And then and then he took off, and she was like, okay, I see what you were saying. I'm like, yeah, like you just, when I say something like with a firm voice, like you need to accept it. Like it's because
I don't have emotions. He's very logical. Like, this is what it is. It is A, it is B, it is C.
He was a proud dad in that moment, but then it was like on the grid when you did it, he was like the car ride home, the dad who's just disappointed. He's like,
no. That happened on the rings. That didn't happen.
I was gonna say that was
There wasn't no disappointed dad until the rings.
We'll get to the rings, but
I'm not mad, Matt. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. John, I want to talk about you, man. Obviously, you had a very impactful week one. You top impact score for the Bandits. Is that something that you're looking for? Or are you just trying to help out and do whatever you're assigned to, just do the best that you can do?
Yeah, no, I don't care about any of the scores or even the time. I want to have I just want to be the fastest at the stuff that I'm supposed to do. Of course, if I think I can do something faster than somebody else on my team, then I want to do it. But like that means, that's with being tired too. You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing something 5 races straight, maybe I'm not the guy on race 6 because it just doesn't matter. Me tired's not as fast as somebody fresh, right? But and if somebody's faster, then let them have it. Or even if they're at the same speed. Because we had this happen like in testing a good amount of times. It's like we were like real close to being the same speed, and I had already had 5 different races that I was going to be in. I was like, they got it, take it, go get it, like be great. and then the stuff that I am in, like I just want to be the fastest out of any person, not just us, but even like on the other teams. I want to be the fastest at my stuff, whether that's successful or not. That's what I'm going to try to be, right? And then if I'm faster and with stuff between, our own team, if I'm the fastest person, I should be out there. If I'm not the fastest person, I shouldn't be out there. It's very, very simple. I don't know why other grid teams don't just abide by that rule, because it's literally what grid is.
John is all about making like simple formulas. The 4-week plan. The
it is simple. Plan. I don't know why more people can't clean 405, because it's the easiest thing in the world if you just stick to a certain thing.
That's the thing. I saw on Instagram, it's been said before. It's like, what's the biggest lie you've ever been told? And it's not that simple. And it's like, that's a lie. It is that simple. You want to lose weight?
Can you do it? Are you willing to be disciplined enough to do it?
That's the thing. Just do it. That's it.
The action is easy. Like when you write it down, it's the follow through. Like that's where everybody gets stuck, is like, can you follow through every single day to this plan? If not, then you're probably not going to see the results. If so, you'll probably be surprised at the results that you'll see. But Matt, obviously week one, you guys can take a lot away. First match ever for the Bandits, first match ever for a lot of the athletes on the team. But for you, had a hiccup with the ring. So I want to go there. Like, obviously you can master the ring. So walk me through that, that race and what happened, what caused the issue, and what are you doing to move forward and get it better for the next time?
Yeah. So to go back even a little bit before, so getting signed with Houston and whatnot, being told that you're going to be the bodyweight specialist. Well, I was 196 pounds at that time. So I was a bodyweight specialist in a way that I don't think they intended me to be.
89 kilo class. Let's
dude,
go.
I was big because like my entire career in CrossFit, the goal was because I was 165 pounds soaking wet when I first started CrossFit. And I'm trying to go against guys like John, who can also rattle off 20 ring muscle ups unbroken. So I just kept trying to gain weight. So finally getting the heaviest I've ever been, after having 2 kids as well. Getting on the team, that helped a lot, actually.
Did you have the kids?
No. Hey, there is such a thing as daddy baby weight also.
I know. I trust me. I know.
He was just trying to make his wife not feel as bad
for
gaining weight. So he's like, we'll do this together.
I won't let you outweigh me, babe. I got you.
Yeah.
Chinese buffet every other day. But so then started training and like, dude, this was probably 2.5 months before that match. And I jumped up on the rings. I couldn't even do a back up rise. I wasn't even close to getting a back up rise. Butterfly ring muscle ups, I could do like 3 or 4 in a row before it felt like my labrums were going to rip completely out of their shoulders. So I was like, all right, cool. Kind of like John does. I was like, I have a plan. Like, I need to get myself down in body weight. I'm only going to practice those movements once a week because after the first week of trying it, I swear I tore both my shoulders. And it was probably a week and a half set me back on like being able to do anything on the rings because of that. And so week after week after week, losing 2 to 3 pounds every week, finally getting to the point where I got down to like 185, 186. And I was able to string together like 3 or 4 back up rises in a row. And the first time was in Hawaii, which was like a month and a half or a month before our match. And then that's when I finally was like, okay, now I can do the back up rise comfortably for a set of 4. Let's toss in that forward roll. Boys, if I don't tell you that doing back up rises ain't that bad, but tossing that forward roll in, I get done with a set of like 2 of them. I come down and dude, I am breathing heavier than I do when I get done with the 2-minute Fran. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? But it was trying to build that capacity up in that sense. And so it wasn't, like I said, until 2 weeks out that I really was stringing them together. We had a mock match on a Saturday and I did it and like flew through it 17, 18 seconds to get through 4 reps.
Get all 4 of them.
Out. Like no problem. Easy peasy. Problem is
if our mock meet, we could just transport that to like the real thing. Like I don't know if we probably would have won because they messed up Jack and Jill, right? Like,
yeah.
I really think like everything was worse in the first and then that week before we did everything, it was like the smoothest anybody did everything. Matt was perfect. Our pistol jumps were perfect. Everything went great. And then nothing went great when we got there. It was crazy.
Well, that's why they say, right? You gotta show up and you gotta lift the weight on the day. You gotta show up. You gotta run the race on the day. And that's the thing. Like you said, we're the new team. Like we're learning the little intricacies that have to happen. The adrenaline, dude. Leading up to my first thing, which was the ladder, which I did beat John by a second in. Just not that me and him were keeping track, but
that was his first thing. I had done 4 things before that. So.
But it's like, dude, leading up to that,
it is 1-0.
I have never been that anxious, nervous. I thought I was going to puke the entire time because I just have to watch my team running out there and doing their races, and I've done nothing at this point. So like, it was definitely very different. The only thing I could put it a tribute to was like whenever I was trying to Team USA for weightlifting and like about to walk out there to do the last clean and jerk bar that like, if I hit this, you're on the team. Mm-hmm. Those nerves. But I had that for 30, 40 minutes straight, waiting for my turn to go do something, So it was very similar to a weightlifting meet in that sense that you just kind of sit around and wait, but at least I'm warming up in the back whenever that's going on. So you're a little distracted. But then getting to the actual match itself, running out there to the rings, knocking out my set of 4, but then finally getting a no rep on my final rep, right? The call on the floor was that during the forward roll portion of it, when I hit the bottom of my forward roll, I stopped my momentum and then continued to pop up and over the rings. And I was given a no rep for that.
On his 4th rep. This is something what most people can't see is that he got no rep on the last rep that he did, and then the judge no repped him for whatever reason.
I'm holding myself in the support, and I hear him say no rep, and he's talking to me while I'm holding myself in support, and I'm like, you know, like really? Like I got no rep, and then I come down and he explains it to me of like, you can't stop on the roll through on the forward, and I literally said to him, I was like, I don't think I know how to stop at the bottom of the roll, even if I tried. Like, I was like, I don't have that technique. So, and once you hit that point, like
just didn't have 5.
Yeah.
Didn't have 5.
Literally
Every time I practiced, it was 4 and done. 4 and done. And like, you would think it's like, oh, it's just one more. But dude, people have been there. Have you ever been there on muscle ups or handstand?
I would say a legless rope climb is probably the most apt comparison when you can't do another legless rope climb.
You're blown up and like everything you just physically can't get yourself in that position. And plus it's an awkward movement because it's just different from how you train muscle ups and just getting up on the rings. And now you're back up rise. And now you're adding this forward roll element to it. It's just, you know, it's tough. It takes some time. And, you know, under the stress that you go throughout the match and on top of the stress and the pressure of doing it. And it sucks to be out there in the moment trying to do one more and you just can't, you know, you can't get it. But
yeah, after a few attempts at it, and realizing it was like, because at that point, the other guy on the team, he was also struggling to get through the repetitions. And so it was one of the things that like, hey, Rush, like try to get one more. If you get one more, then you can do it. And I was straight muscling the back up rise and then just not being able to catch that forward roll through. And then while we're standing there, I was talking to the lane judge and they're like, hey man, like you're probably going to challenge this. Like even my own lane judge was kind of like, I gave you the no rep, but like also I want to review it. Right. Sophia, our coach, is also telling me like, hey, don't try to do any more. If we win the challenge, we'll restart the match again. And you might have to do them again, or we may start afterwards with that. So that's why you saw me at the end, like kind of jumping up the rings. And they told me I was out there. There's like, the rule is that you can't stop trying or else you're DQ'd. So that's why you saw me jumping up on the rings and very lazily attempting a repetition, trying to save myself for the chance that we have to run it back again. And I got to do another 4 of these.
It's kind of a subjective little caveat to the rule. Like,
right. Like what is cheating? What is like, what is stopping? Like,
but John, for you, man, you come out of the gate, you partner forward, you're right in the mix in the very first race. What were your thoughts going into that? Do you feel like it was what you expected it to be, or was it different going in?
Yeah, no, I know. I thought it honestly went exactly like I wanted us to perform better, but like speed wise, how it was, I don't think it wasn't surprising. I didn't know how it would feel speed wise, but and I get like from other people, maybe it did feel really, really fast, but if you can focus on just what your job is, things don't feel too fast. It's whenever you start getting wrapped up in everything else that's going on, you know, you look at the other team or what they're doing, or like you just like get nervous or whatever. Like as long as you just go do what you did in the gym, it's not, it's the same stuff. You know what I mean? You can time what these times look like from prior matches or prior years. This was the championship match. You literally can just time what the Wild did in the championship. Okay, try to be faster than that. If you practice, you're faster than that. You just go. Like there's nothing to be nervous about. If you do what you already are capable of, I think our partner forward, had we not made mistakes, we would have won. And that's upsetting, but it's literally mistakes. It's not ability. If ability is why we got beat every single time, then we're in trouble because they're just that much better. But it wasn't. There was a lot of times in these events where we were ahead and then we'd make a mistake and it's gone. And in 60-second races, you can't make any mistakes. So like we'd be ahead, make a mistake, they win. So like, and to the Lions' credit, they didn't really make any mistakes other than Jack and Jill. Their sprint relay was rough, but it doesn't really matter at this point, right? So, but like, you know, their mirror was amazing. I don't think we could have beat their mirror, period. But partner forward, I think we could have won. I think we should have won, and mistakes held us back. Jack and Jill seeing how they did, I think we could have won if we were just smarter. There were a lot of events where I'm not going to say we should have, but we could have won.
Yeah, ladder was 1 point. It was a 1 point difference in ladder.
Right. Ladder, 14 things happened wrong that made us not win in ladder.
Yep.
It was like a whole trickle effect that I won't get into, but it was like we should have won ladder. I'll say that one. Ladder we should have won, and we did it. And that's on us. It's on us as a team. But it wasn't.
At least like I feel like it's easier to go, all right, we beat ourselves in some of these aspects. We can fix that. It's hard to go out there and go, shit, they're just fucking better than us. Like that's.
And if that was the case, I'd be way more let down or like, it's going to be a rough thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it really wasn't. It was just us.
So it sounds like, Matt, this week, week 2, you got the brigade is going to be a little bit different. For you, what are your plans for the Ascend match format? Are you looking forward to it, or is this something that we're going to see you in a lot of races, a little bit of races? Like what can we expect from you for week 2?
Yeah, I'll be in there a little more than I was in match 1. But that said, I think that's also like Coach Sophia's learning a little bit more about our abilities and what we're actually truly able to do. Because at the end of the day, like she doesn't know what we can do unless we show her what we can do, right? And I think that's something that like going into match 1, I was like, I'll just do what Cole do. And I didn't really try to test any of the other stuff. Whereas this time I was like, you know what, like I'm going to try and test out some of these other elements and whatnot to see like if I can help the team. If I'm a few seconds faster, then let me go ahead and do that also. And as the season has progressed, like my fitness is astronomically better. Like I said, being 12 pounds lighter than I was at the very beginning, training way more intently, like because I have a team that's relying on me, which was another reason why my wife thought it would be a great idea to sign up for grid stuff. She's like, you just try harder when you have other people relying on you too. She's like, you'll be lazy if you just rely on yourself.
you got disappointed John over there on the sideline, just being like, this guy.
Dude, trust me, I was beating myself up because he did not get to showcase that 315 muscle clean for 3 that he was about to go out there and do. And like I said, after we were done, I was like, John, I'm so sorry, John. I'm so sorry. He's like, dude, don't worry. And he said what he said. He's like, you couldn't control it. It's a failure thing. Like that's just where your body was at. Like nothing you could do. So
that's really what it comes down to. John wanted to go sling that 315.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But you can't be mad at somebody for failure. They literally did everything they could do, and then they just didn't have it. You can't be mad at somebody for that.
Right.
Yeah. John was over at my place yesterday after NCC, and we were talking about it. And it's just like, it's hard because the very first match had the one element in it that was the hardest thing for me to do out of the rest of the matches for the year. It's like, if that would have been match 3, match 4, I don't think I have any issue knocking out.
He's probably 5 pounds lighter. And
yeah,
I'm already now. I'm 182 pounds, and I was 185, 186 going to our last match, and that was literally 2 weeks ago. So
nice. Wow. Well, John, for you, obviously the ladder is something that you're now 0-1 to Matt on. Is this week the ladder? You're getting a trick, it's kind of some trickery in this ladder.
And we should give props to Kidder. I think Kidder beat Matt by 1 second. I think Kidder beat me by 2 seconds, and he beat Matt by 1 second. So let's give props to him because
Blake, you're the overall winner.
Give me a couple cracks at it. I just need to get better at being like a reckless abandon. I don't think anybody can move weights faster. I just got to get more reckless with it.
That's, the trick of this week is now the weight's going to stay the same in every quadrant, but the height of this yoke that you've got to throw this sandbag over is going to change. I've seen a lot of people, John, practicing this on social media, probably more for this event or this race than any that I've seen in the past. For you, is this going to be difficult, or are people overthinking it, or it's, it is what it is? You're just going to lift the ball and throw it over a yoke. Just do it.
Is it a ball? I thought it was a sandbag.
Right, it's just a sandbag.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be the hardest ladder. I think so. I think a lot of people are doing 1 rep of that 200 over the highest bar, and they're like, okay, I can do it. But get tired first and then do 3 different heights and then run to that fourth bag and then do it, it's a way different feeling. And the thing is, if you don't go fast with it, you don't really have a shot unless you're over 6'1". If you're 6'1", then maybe you could shoulder it and then go over. A lot of people aren't. And then you have to be able to kind of strict press it over the bar. And you have to go fast for that. Because if you sit here and mess with it a little bit, you're not going to have any kind of press at all. I think a lot of people will think that they can do that last bag because they have in practice. And we're going to see a lot of fails in that last bag.
It's one of those things where you may not get through the amount of athletes that you think you get through, because it's almost, once you get to that fourth quadrant and you're trying, like, let's say you get it up and you slowly start trying to creep this bag over, like, it just takes time. And like, once you're there, it's almost like, well, now I'm committed to trying to get this over the yoke. And if you fail, it's like, well, shit, I just ate up 10 extra
so
seconds.
much time.
Yeah.
For sure.
But outside of the ladder, what can we look forward to seeing you in? And is anything in particular with this race format that you're just fucking like ecstatic? Like, yeah, I can't wait to do that.
Not really. It's just kind of go do the things. What all am I in, man? I'm in a lot of things.
I think the heaviest thing you have is the flipper. I think that's really the
the sandbag's harder than the flipper though. I'm all around. Most of it, it's just kind of like a work day, I would say. There's nothing really that you get to show off on.
I think it's cool because you get some elements like the rope climbs, a ton of them, but you also get, a foundational, unique apparatus, the flip sled, and obviously you're going to load that thing up with 350 pounds and you're going to have to push it end over end. And it's
I've never done those before. So like, I'm going to get there and play with it. I assume I'll be all right, but like, it'll be fun to play with that for the first time.
I feel like it's components of a deadlift, of a hang clean, and of a press. I feel like you can do all those things. So
no, I'm not worried about it, but I just haven't touched it before. But
this match is probably not as, I would say, just not as sexy as a lot of the other matches are. Like not as like I'd say highlight worthy, but like
definitely not as demanding. I think the most demanding is the rope climbs, and your whole team's doing that.
Yeah. It's just a lot. There's a ton of them. Well, Matt, obviously for you got some redemption that you're looking for on those rings. And John, you want to get to something heavy, something of 300 plus pounds, so you can show off a little bit. Hopefully Matt will allow you to get there this week. But,
I do know that this week coming up, there is another handstand walk within the race.
For sure.
It is in the triad. So if you guys want to see something, maybe tune in when we get to the men's
I have a little bit the partner forward for this week. I asked Sophia if I could just do the whole thing, and I would be excited if she let me do that. But it was because I did the whole partner forward, every weight, every thruster, and videoed it for her. But we end up being faster if it's 2 and 2. It's not just me. So that's what's going to happen. But that would have been fun if I could have been fast enough to do that. But I was not. But I did it in practice. Just saying.
Isn't it strange? Like if you put the partner forward together, that's just like a typical like CrossFit workout, all of it. But like you're having to like specialize and break it up, and like I think that's what's cool about the strategy that grid like entails, is like you have to think about the time aspect and who can make these things fast and efficient, but also like tall guys as opposed to shorter guys, and range of motions, because all these little minutia like break down and like
are more team oriented than people who haven't done it would get. Definitely.
Well, guys, I appreciate the time. This weekend, Saturday, June 14th, you're going to be here, Seminole, Florida, at Valor Fitness headquarters for week 2 of the United Grid League season. You guys are taking on the Brigade. Matt, before you bounce, anything you want to plug or promote?
Just our team. Come watch us. Like So watch us throw down. Grid is a lot of fun. A lot of my members and friends that like had seen it before, they haven't had a real reason to really watch it. And now that they have watched, they really loved how condensed and how quick all the action comes at you. So like if you haven't ever watched it, dude, one of my friends said it. He's like, CrossFit, there are a few highlights. He said Grid, it's all just one big highlight back to back to back. And it's like, so if you guys haven't watched it, come check it out because it is pretty freaking dope to see us what we're good at, doing it even better than anybody else can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in attendance for the first time for my first Grid, match. I've seen a lot of it on live streams, but this will be the first in person. So hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you guys and we'll chat it up. John, I might bring you some tacos, brother.
Sounds good.
I heard you're a fan, but before you bounce, John, anything you want to plug or promote?
If you want to get strong, DM me at JY Barbell, and we'll get you hooked up. Other than that, I don't think Grid people care about CrossFit podcasts, so I'll leave that on the side. But what Matt said, Grid is far more exciting. Matt? You should try this. So when I get all of our assignments, when I get the assignments that I'm gonna do, my one-on-one people, I write all of my assignments and then rest 5 minutes, what it is going to be for the meet, like what I do for practice. And I'm like, okay, this is the workout. It's just kind of it's like an hour, right? Or 50 minutes to an hour. But I'll just scale the weights for them. So like the last time, the 3 cleans were at 225. And then I'll just scale anything that they need to scale. They did the sandbag ladder at 150, right? But the yoke height was the same. And they have a blast doing that. You know how it feels. So it makes them feel like that CNS burn that is very unique to Grid. So it's really fun. Your stuff's a little bit more gymnasticsy, so I don't know if you're one-on-one people who can do it, but it's very fun.
I've been coaching for 13 years. I'd figure out a way to scale it for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Got this. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Best of luck this weekend. I look forward to talking to y'all, and be safe. And then, hey, get after it on Saturday. Appreciate the time, though.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for having us on here, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime. That is John Young and Matt Rattay of the Houston Bandits, everybody. If you like hearing their story or you just like hearing average Joes talk X's and O's, please share the podcast on Facebook. Head over to YouTube, click like, subscribe, notifications. That way you're first to know when new content is being dropped. Tomorrow, we'll be back with another big episode. We got Nicole Hunt of the Palms. She'll be stopping by to talk to us about her story and to promote her match this weekend in Tampa. But this has been the Grid and Grind Show. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.